Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't previously seen my part 1 Scotland travel vlog, definitely feel free and go check that out, where you join me in exploring the beautiful Edinburgh Castle in downtown Edinburgh. As for today's vlog in part 2, I am going to take you along with me through downtown Edinburgh, where we will be beginning our journey at the St Giles Cathedral. This cathedral is absolutely gorgeous. All of the museums and cathedrals in Scotland are free and they are donation based, so I do recommend if you visit, please leave a donation so people can continue to enjoy and learn for many years to come. The most striking thing to me immediately when I walked into the cathedral was the stained glass windows. The ceiling is also beautifully constructed with lovely lines and gold accents. There's lots of beautiful stone carvings and statues to admire. This cathedral is actually not as large as it looks in the video, but because of the high ceilings, it makes the room feel very spacious. Definitely worth checking out if you're ever in downtown Edinburgh. After the cathedral, we did some walking in the downtown area, looking at a lot of the architecture. It's something I never get sick of. This is the famous Harry Potter street that helped to inspire the famous Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. As you can see walking down the street, it definitely does remind me of Diagon Alley in the movies. Just a very beautiful spot, very quaint. I love the rainbow flags hanging along the tops of the buildings. And it really does make you feel like you are in a movie when walking here. After we were done exploring the main section of the city, we decided to find somewhere with a beautiful view that was worth seeing, and Calton Hill was the top of the list. This may be the absolute best view that you can get in Edinburgh, just because it is so high up. There's an observatory up here, an old church, and as well as a monument that reminds me a lot of ancient Rome columns. This is a great place to go and listen to music or go on a walk or study. It's very peaceful up here and the views are just unbeatable. Over by the old church building, we found a beautiful small garden filled with flowers and possibly some herbs of some sort. The views of the rolling green and yellow hills are just absolutely iconic. These yellow flowers are all over Scotland and it makes the hills look like they're sprinkled with turmeric. This is a perfect way to end our day here in Edinburgh. The next day we were heading out from Edinburgh, but we decided to stop somewhere very special before we left the city. We went to the Royal Botanical Garden of Edinburgh, which did not disappoint. We expected to spend only an hour here, but because it was so vast, making up a full 8 acres of land, we actually had to go back and renew our parking because we were there for so long. At this time of year, which was in May, the rhododendron are in bloom, and that was the main attraction here. These are just a few pictures that I took, capturing some of the most striking flowers that the Botanical Garden has to offer. There's so much to explore here, and whether you are a plant nerd or not, I definitely recommend coming here. It's very peaceful and you learn so much since every single plant is labeled with the Latin name and the common name as well. There's a beautiful lake, or I guess a pond more like, towards the center of the garden. And over at the very front corner, there is this well that's made out of flat stones. I just think the construction of this is very unique and quite striking too, with the sharp edges on top. After exploring the Royal Botanical Garden, we decided to head to a castle. Now this castle is a little bit out of the way, but I definitely think it is worth a visit. This is the famous Blackness Castle. Now when you first enter the Blackness Castle grounds, there is a small gift shop over to the right side. I highly recommend going in there and talking to the person behind the desk. They may ask you if it's your first time, and you're going to answer yes, and they're going to give you a brief history. Now when my boyfriend and I went there, the man behind the desk had clearly given this speech about 1,000 times before, and he spoke so fast and his accent was so thick I could barely understand a word he said. It was amazing, so I highly recommend you go and do that. When you enter the castle walls and you're in the middle of the castle, there is an outlet out by the sea, so we went and walked on that pier, that very, very long pier. Though it is quite windy, the views are beautiful, right up against the ocean. This castle is very old, and it's not quite as refurbished as the famous Edinburgh castle from my previous vlog. So this one is great if you like a little bit more of an adventure feel, because it feels a bit more authentic. Though it is not as refurbished as the Edinburgh Castle, this castle is in great condition. Another thing we loved about this castle was there was almost nobody here since it was a little out of the way, so it felt like we virtually got the castle entirely to ourselves. Going inside and upstairs, inside the castle lies an exhibit which shares stories of influential people who helped to shape Scotland. Some of these people are known, while many have untold stories. The exhibit shares photos and documentation of women like Dr. Margaret Blackwood, who fought for equality for the disabled, and Agnes Dolan, a fervent campaigner of women's and workers' rights. Tom Johnson, Ethel Moorhead, Tom Jenkins, and many others all played significant roles in standing up to oppression and inspiring forward-moving change in Scotland's history. I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe they do change the exhibit since this one was labeled for 2022. So depending on when you get to visit this castle, they may have a different exhibit. I really appreciated all the artwork, the colors, and the citing of the sources with this exhibit. There was so much to read and learn, and I really loved it. Exploring the inside of the castle furthermore, we come to this big drawing room where there's a very large wooden table in the middle. This was most likely a dining room of sorts. I can only imagine what this room must have looked like with flags on the walls, more chairs, more tables, more candles, and lots of company. The windows in here are part of the refurbishment, I believe. There are spaces where large fireplaces would have kept the room warm, since it does get quite windy and cold here. Once we were done exploring the inside, we walked outside, so we're on the upper level of the walls here. This was some of the best part of the castle to explore. Since you're so high up, you get a great 360 view of everything around you. Beautiful rolling green hills and the lovely shores of the water. There's something to appreciate at every angle of this castle. Heading back down into a lower level of the interior of the castle walls. Here we have some more artifacts, things that have broken off from the castle. Another drawing room. It almost feels like you're shopping for a home of an old castle. Going through each empty room, it's easy to see the potential that one could make a home out of this place. Up here on one of the watchtowers, we see a lovely stone archway. If you do go up here to explore, I definitely recommend wearing a hat of some sort. It does get quite windy. And that pretty much concludes our tour of Blackness Castle. I hope you guys enjoyed part 2 of my Scotland travels vlog. I will send you off with this view of the outer walls of the castle. Absolutely incredible, very well kept grounds, and it was definitely worth going out of the way for. Stay tuned for part 3 to see where my journey takes me next in Scotland. Bye for now.